So, all right, so welcome back to 11.3 depreciation. Now we're going to take a look at straight line. Okay? So, again, we talked about the 5 components. Again, these are all necessary in order for you to be able to do depreciation, right? So, same exact materials that we need, only difference is how we are calculating it. Okay? So, therefore, we're looking at the very last method, which is called straight line. Okay? Straight line is pretty straight forward in this case, right? Because what are we doing is we're going to be spreading the cost evenly throughout the entirety of the asset's life. Okay? So that means every year I'm going to depreciate it equally, the same amount every single time. So that's hence the word straight line, right? That means there's no fluctuations or anything. You're at a constant rate and you're at a constant amount that is being depreciated every year. Okay? So in this case, right, that is exactly what we're going to be using straight line for. And it's one of the most commonly used methods because you don't have to deal with that much calculations. You only need to do one calculation or maybe 2 calculations and you're done, right? So in this case, this is the formulas that you need to know. It is a combination between the units of production and double declining. Okay, how so? Your depreciation basis is going to be your cost of the asset minus salvage value, which derives from the units of production. Okay? Your depreciation rate is going to be 1 over the estimated useful life. Only one time though, okay? So again, where did this one come from? Double declining, right? Except instead of multiplying it twice as much, you're only doing it once, okay? And then your depreciation expense, okay, is going to be your basis times rate. And then your accumulated and book value are the same, okay, the same exact formula. So let's take a look at an example, okay? So if you decide to buy a machine for $15,000 with a salvage value of $2,500, estimated useful life of 5 years. So again, you're splitting the cost evenly through its estimated useful life. Okay? And it can produce up to 10,000 units. And the date that you placed in the surface was January 1st. So in this case, my basis is going to be asset cost minus salvage value. So in this case, I'm going to take 15,000 minus 2,500. You should get 12,500. That's your depreciation basis. Okay? Your rate is going to be 1 over the estimated useful life. So in this case, because you're not multiplying it by 2 times, it's literally going to be 1 divided by 5. So in this case, 20%, okay, or 0.2, okay? So now I need to solve for what my rate's going. I need to solve for my expense. So in this case, it's going to be basis times rate. So 12,500 times 20% is going to give you 2,500. Okay? Accumulated depreciation, 2,500. My book value is going to be 15,000 minus 2,500, which gives me 12,500. This doesn't make any association. It's just that's the number that came out, okay? So let's do year 2. My depreciation basis is my asset cost minus salvage value. So 15,000 minus 2,500 gives me 12,500. Okay? My rate is going to be 1 over the estimated useful life. So 1 over divided by 5 is 20%. Okay? Basis times rate is going to be my expense. So 12,500 times 0.2 is going to give me 2,500. Okay? And then my accumulated, right? So if I from the first year I had 2,500 plus I just depreciated for the second year 2,500, I have now a grand total of 5,000. So therefore my book value 15,000 minus 5,000 leaves me with 10,000. Okay? So let's do year 3. And what you're going to notice at year 3, year 4, year 5, all the numbers are going to be the same because asset cost minus salvage value is still going to give you your depreciation basis of $12,500. The rate doesn't change because it's 1 over divided by 5. And because the basis and the rate do not change, your expense will not change either. Because if you're constantly multiplying your basis times rate, if the basis is the same number and the rate's the same number, so will your depreciation expense. So hence, why this is the most easiest one and people like this one the most is because literally you need to solve for 1 or maybe 2 problems and you're good to go. Because once you've calculated it once, you're literally going to depreciate the same amount every single year to the end of the life of the asset. So in this case, you're going in a straight line. Okay? And what you're going to notice is at the end of the year, your accumulated depreciation should be your depreciation basis, and your book value does equal your salvage value at the end of the 5th year, which is the $2,500. Okay? Any questions here?
No, much more simpler.
Exactly, much more simpler. So in this case, here we're looking at how to journalize the entry, the same exact entry, right? Depreciation expense, the accumulated depreciation. The only difference is what number you're going to be putting in. Now, in this case, since we plugged it in, right? We know that the first year was $2,500. Guess what the second year is going to be? It's going to be an identical journal entry because you're going in a straight line. The second year was another $2,500. Third year, another $2,500, and so on and so forth. Okay? But what happens when partial years come into play? So once again, it's more common that you would normally depreciate at the end of the year. Okay, so in my case, I'm assuming that my end of the year is December 31st. Okay? But if I put my asset into service as of October 18, okay, how do I start depreciating? Well, October 18, what does that tell you? When do you start depreciating?
November.
You start depreciating the month of November. So therefore, you got November, and then you got December, and that's it. So you only got 2 months. Okay? So how do I calculate that? Well, once again, let's figure it out. Depreciation basis is your asset cost minus salvage value. So in this case, 10,000 minus 2,500 gives you 7,500. My rate is going to be 1 divided by 5 because I have an estimated useful life of 5. So that's 20%. So in this case, my grand total for the year, for first year, right, basis times rate, will give me $1,500. But in this case, is my asset 1 year old?
No.
No, it's only 2 months old, right? So I need to adjust my depreciation expense by that amount. So in this case, it can't be to 1,500, right? Because that's for the whole year. I need to adjust it. How do I calculate it? Well, you have to figure out, right? How old is your asset? It is 2 months old. 2 months out of 12 is going to be 0.166666666, right?
Right.
So therefore, if I multiply that by my depreciation expense for that whole year, I'm going to determine that at the end of the day, $250 is going to be how much it's going to cost me for 2 months, okay, out of the whole year. So that's just what's different is you're just adjusting the very beginning of the year because you can't depreciate it for a year. Just like you can't call your 2-month baby a year old, right? So that's the same idea here. So you have to treat it like it's 2 months old. Okay? So in this case, I have to adjust it, right? Now again, you could divide the whole thing by 12 and then multiply by 2. You'll get the same answer. Okay? And once again, you need to go ahead and pop your number in here in your journal, and that is it. So again, straight line is the most widely used one because again, there's less complications to have to go through all the numbers that you have to calculate. And once you figure out one number, you're good to go. All right? So, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into 11.4. Okay? Now we're going to be moving into amortization, right? So we talked about this very briefly. What is amortization? Well, amortization is just another fancy word to represent that you're going to be depreciating intangible assets, okay? So depreciation's to tangible assets. Amortization is to intangible assets. Okay? So right here, fixed tangible assets are depreciated. Intangible assets are amortized. Okay? They all do the same thing, and they all represent the same thing, right? You're devaluing a asset. Okay? It's just terminology. Okay? So in this case, how do we amortize our items? Well, like I've mentioned before, right? An intangible asset, it can be intellectual property. It could be a copyright. It could be a patent, a license, okay? A trademark. Can you physically touch all of these things? Can you physically touch a copyright?
No.
No, it's an idea that's being protected, right? Yes, you can
Right.
you could touch the legal documentation for the copyright, but you can't touch that invisible field, right? Over the idea, right? Because it's an idea. You can't even touch the idea. Okay? So that's why we call them intangible assets, or also known as intellectual property, right? So in this case, licenses, right? Can you actually touch a license? You could touch the physical idea of a license, but what does a license actually do for you? It gives you permission to be able to do stuff, right? Can you touch permission? No. So that's the idea here, is that for intangible assets, they do have certain aspects to them, right? Number one thing is, usually we don't know how the length of time for a intangible asset, right? Because it could be a 1-year patent, it could be a 15-year patent. I know Disney just renewed their license and copyrights for 50 years. Okay? So that means if you want to have a piece of Disney, you have to pay them a lump sum money to just borrow their drawing or whatever it is, but they just renewed their intellectual property, their protection, right, for 50 years. So in this case, there is no actual real number that we can determine, right? Because if you have a patent that could be for 50 years and then you have one that could be 1 or 2 years, well, let's find something that's kind of realistic. So about usually 15 years would be something that we would normally do. Now, again, it will just depend on when you buy the patent, how long it's for, how much money you invested in there. But in this case, right, at the end of its life, it should retain 0 salvage value. Why? In this case, why do we renew licenses? Okay? We renew licenses to add the value back to the license, right? When you purchase it, it will decrease in value over time, and it should be worth pretty much nothing, and you have to renew it. You have to pay more money to continue to protect the idea, right? So that's the key feature here, is there is no salvage value at the end of the life of an intangible asset. Okay? And Again, so that's why you have to renew it at the end of its life to add value back into the asset, right? Okay, so that's the key features. Is there's no definite time frame. So that's why for this class I'll just go ahead and use 15. 15 just it's an easy number to know, and it has no salvage value. So how do I actually calculate amortization? Amortization functions identical to straight line. Only difference is you don't have a salvage value. Okay? So therefore, amortization basis is going to be your asset cost. The rate is going to be 1 over the estimated useful life. And then the expense is going to be the basis times rate. And accumulated amortization is going to be previous year's amortization plus current year's amortization expense. And book value is going to be the asset cost minus accumulated. It's identical to straight line. Only difference is the basis is only the asset cost. Okay, no salvage value. So for this example here, right, you purchase a $20,000 patent, okay, on one of your prototypes, okay? Now, of course, you also have to put it again, okay? You had it purchased for your store as of January 5th. Now, usually with licenses and copyrights and patents, they usually are effective immediately, okay? But they do follow the same rule, right? If it's more than 50% of the month, then you depreciate that month. If it's less than 50% of the month, then you go ahead and just forward it on to the next month. All right, so January 5th, okay, assume that that the patent is good for 15 years. Okay, so let's go ahead and record the amortization for this first year. So in this case, right, let's calculate it. Basis is going to be the asset cost. So in this case, how much did the asset cost me? It cost me $20,000. Okay, and let's see. Second thing is the estimated useful life. 1 divided by 15 is going to give you 0.06666666666666, right? And then you're going to figure out your expense. Your expense is going to be basis times rate. So in this case, you're going to take your 20,000 and you're going to multiply it by the 0.66666 or divide it by 15, whichever one you want to do. And you're going to get $1,333.33. So then your accumulated is going to be that exact number, and your book value will be now 18,666,667. Right? Straightforward. So again, how do you do the second year? Same thing, right? 2,000. Your basis is going to be 20,000. Your rate's going to be 1 over 15, which is that 0.006666666. You're going to multiply across, and you're going to get another 1,333.33. Your accumulated is 2,666,666. And then, of course, your book value was now 1733.34. So at the end of the day, you're dealing with one number and one number only. Okay? And, of course, this time, instead of saying depreciation expense, you're going to be using amortization expense, and it's to the accumulated amortization. So you're just basically replacing the word depreciation. Okay? And in this case, we know it's going to be for that $1,333.33. Okay? So, chapter review. Okay? So, again, we took a look at straight line. Okay? And amortization is exactly identical to straight line. Only difference is there's no salvage value. Okay? And the point of straight line is to spread the cost evenly amongst through its estimated useful life. So you're going to be, it literally, depreciating it for the exact same amount every single year, where amortization is meant for intangible assets, okay, and has no salvage value. So let's go ahead and dive right into the problems here, starting with the first one. So this one has 3 separate problems here. Starting with the first one. Okay, so 11.3 here. If you decide to purchase a coffee maker for $250 with no salvage value, its estimated useful life is 5 years, and it can produce up to 25,000 pots. Okay, and of course you put this coffee maker into service as of January 12th. So assuming you are going to be depreciating it at the end of the year, December 31st, right? So if you decided to put into service as of January 12th, that means you're going to depreciate it when? January. So what did we buy?
Coffee maker.
You bought a coffee maker. Okay, how much did that coffee maker cost you?
$250.
$250. Okay, how much is my salvage value?
0.
It's $0. What is my estimated useful life?
5 years.
It's got 5 years on it. And when did I when did I put it into service?
January.
January. So therefore, I will start depreciating it January. Okay? So what's my depreciation basis?
It's $250.
$250, right? Because it's going to be your asset cost of $250 minus your salvage value, which is 0, and that will give you $250. All right. What's my rate going to be?
0.2.
0.2, right? 1 divided by 5, and that's it. So 20%. So what's my depreciation expense for the first year?
$50.
It's going to be $50, right? Because we're going to take my $250, multiply it by 20% or 2.2, and you're going to get $50. So therefore, my accumulated depreciation is $50. So what is going to be my book value?
$200.
$200. Good. Okay. So let's go ahead and do year 2. What's my depreciation basis?
Is it $250?
It is $250, right? Because it's going to be your asset cost minus your salvage value, which is 0, which is at $250. Okay. What's my rate going to be?
0.20.
1 divided by 5. Oops. 1 divided by 5, which is... Okay, let me undo this. Okay, 0.2. So what's my depreciation expense going to be?
50.
It's going to be another $50. So then, what's my accumulated?
100.
It's going to be $100, right? Previous plus current gives you a total of $100. So what is my book value going to be?
150.
It's going to be $150. Okay. So then, let's go ahead and continue keep solving. So what's my depreciation basis for year 3?
250.
It's going to be the same, right? It's going to be the same for all 5 years. So then what's my rate going to be?
0.20.
They're all going to be the same. So therefore, what's my depreciation expense going to be?
$50.
It's also going to be the same, right? Because if your basis and your rate is the same, so will your depreciation expense. So therefore, what's my accumulated for the third year?
150.
It's going to be 150. So therefore, what's my book value going to be?
0.
No.
I mean, 100.
100. Good. Okay. So what's my accumulated depreciation for year 4?
$200.
200. So therefore, my book value is
$50.
50. And then the last one, what's my accumulated depreciation as of year 5?
$250.
250. So that's going to bring my book value to be
0.
0. And is that true?
No,
Why?
because it doesn't meet the book value is less.
What? Less than what?
The salvage value.
Well, what is my salvage value supposed to be?
50.
No, 0.
No, it's 0. So in this case,
It's correct.
it's correct, right? My book value does equal my salvage value at the end of the useful life. So in this case, this is correct. So how do I journalize my adjustment entry for the first and second year? Well, what's my adjustment entry going to be?
Amortization expense.
We're still on depreciation.
I mean, depreciation expense.
Good. And
Accumulated depreciation.
good. And what was it for the first year?
$50.
Right, it was for $50. So then what is it going to be for my second year? What would my
$100.
no, not my accumulated.
Um, um, $50.
It's another $50. So in this case, your journal is identical every single year because you're going to depreciate the same amount every year. $50. Okay, so in this case, that is it for this problem right here. So, next problem. So in this case, we're still on depreciation. We're on 11.3 still. Okay. So here, you decide to purchase a couch for $2,485, okay, which includes all the fees with a salvage value of $150, okay? Its estimated useful life is 7 years, okay? And you put this couch into service as of August 25th, okay? Assume that the adjustments are made at the end of every month. Okay? So, first things first, what did I buy?
A couch.
You bought a couch. Okay? How much did that couch cost me?
$2,485.
$2,485. Okay? $2,485. And how much is my salvage value?
150.
$150. What was my estimated useful life?
7 years,
7 years. And when did I place into service?
August 25th,
So what does that tell me? When do I start depreciating it?
September.
You start depreciating it as of September. Okay? Now here, it says right here that my adjustments are done at the end of every month. So therefore, let's calculate my first one. So, what's my depreciation basis?
2,488.
Not 2,488. That's an 85.
85.
No.
$2,485?
No.
No.
Why is that?
Can you pull it down for a minute? Okay, it says it includes all fees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you purchase it.
Mm-hmm. What's the formula for solving for my depreciation basis under straight line? It's more than just the asset cost.
Okay, would it be the salvage value added to it?
Well, I meant there's more. I don't mean to say add. I mean to say you have to include the salvage value. Now in this case, do you add or subtract?
You subtract.
You subtract. So in this case, it's going to be your asset cost, and you need to subtract your salvage of 150. So then now, what is your depreciation basis?
$23.35.
2335. Okay, good. So what's my rate going to be?
Is 1 divided by 7.
1 divided by 7.
And I got 0.1428.
Correct. So in this case, 1.42857. So in this case, remember, the best results is, if you're going to calculate them on the calculator, at least 6 decimal places. So in this case for you, it'd be 0.142857, and that will give you the best number. Okay? So then, how do I solve for my depreciation expense for the month, for the first month?
I got 333.57.
Now, is that true for depreciating at the end of the month?
No.
Okay. How do I solve for the month?
Okay, would it be $55.60?
No.
Okay, I thought you said that, cause I would have to, okay, what I did is I divided the 333 by 12, and
Okay.
then I multiply it by,
What was the
two.
what was the question being asked right now? Am I asking you to solve a partial years, or am I asking you to depreciate for the month?
Okay, for the month.
Okay, so how much would it cost me for 1 month?
Oh, okay.
Right? Because the adjustments are done at the end of the month.
Okay, so
27.8.
It'd be $27.80, right?
yeah.
Because I'm not asking you to solve partial years. I'm making my adjustments at the end of the month. I said that was an option you can do. That you can do it at the end of the month. So it's imperative that you do pay very close attention to the exercises, because this one I switched it. I'm not calculating years anymore. I'm calculating by month. So in this case, for the very first month that I depreciate it, it's going to cost me $27.80. So then, what's my accumulated depreciation?
2780.
$27.80. So therefore, what's my book value going to be?
Is it 2,457.20?
Correct. 2,457.20. All right, so let's solve for the next month. What's my depreciation basis for the second month?
Is it $2,335?
Yes, because it's the asset cost minus salvage value. So $2,335. What's my depreciation rate?
It's going to be the same.
It's going to be the same. That 0.14, because that's 1 divided by 7, right?
Right.
So then what is going to be my depreciation expense?
$333.57.
That's for the whole year. Am I calculating for the whole year?
No.
55.6.
No. If the 333 was supposed to be for the whole year, how much is it going to cost me to depreciate for 1 month?
Okay, 2780.
Correct,
Okay.
right? Because the basis and the rate is the same, and you're still depreciating it for the month, not for the year. So in this case, every month we already calculated it. It should be $27.80. So therefore, my accumulated depreciation is going to be
55.6.
55.6, which will give me my depreciation. I'm sorry, will give me my book value to be
$2,401.40.
no.
$2,429.40.
Yes, because remember, we're not taking from book value. We're taking from the asset cost of $2,485. Right? All right. So what's going to happen for the next month?
It's going to be the same.
It's going to be the same. So that means every single month it's going to be the same. So what about my rate?
The same.
It's also going to stay the same. Okay? What about my expense?
The same.
It's going to all be the same. So now all we have to really do is just calculate my accumulated and my book value. So what's my accumulated depreciation for year 3?
$83.4.
83.4. So what's my book value going to be?
$2,401.60.
2,401.60. Good. So what's my accumulated depreciation for the 4th month?
$111.20.
Good. So my book value will be
$2,378.
two.
73
Yes.
and 80 cents.
Good. So let's finish up the last 3. So what's my accumulated depreciation for year 5? Or I'm sorry, for the month of the 5th month.
$139.
139. So therefore my book value is
$2,346.
mm-hmm. And then I'll go ahead and solve for the last 2 for you guys so we can move on to the next problem here. So here, now this is because I'm depreciating by the month. Okay? All right. So, question number 5 says, record the adjustment entry on the month of August of the first year. Okay? So, August of the first year.
Depreciation expense.
No.
Uh,
So in this case, it says right here that I need to record my depreciation of August of the first year.
okay, is it the 2780?
No. When did you place the asset into service?
August
August when?
25th.
So when do you start depreciating?
September.
I'm asking you to depreciate for the month of August.
Okay, so there it shouldn't be any adjustment.
Correct. No adjustment. So in this case, no entry. So it's important that you need to know when you actually start depreciating it. So in this case, second question says now go ahead and do the entry for the month of September of the first year. So in this case,
So it would be depreciation expense
good.
and accumulated expense.
Accumulated depreciation. No expense. Okay. For how much this time? For the first month.
27.80.
$27.80. Okay. Okay. Now, question number 7 says, okay, record the adjustment entry for the first year. Okay, so assuming that you decided to depreciate at the end of the year, meaning December 31st, how do you go ahead and record this adjustment if you were to record this amount annually? So if I decided to, instead of journalizing at the end of every month, I decided to do it at the end of the year. So how do I record my first year's depreciation expense?
So it would be depreciation expense
It would be depreciation expense. Good.
and accumulated depreciation.
Good. So instead of doing it by month, right? I want to do it at
Right.
the end of the year of my first year. If I put my asset into service as of September, how much can I actually depreciate for the first year? We'll take it back. So take it back a problem. If you were supposed to do this in years instead of months, how would it be different?
Okay, be would it be 333?
That's for the whole year, right?
Right.
Can I depreciate my asset for the whole year?
Yes.
Why? When did you place your asset into service? How old is your asset right now for the first year?
Okay, it went into service on August.
August 25th, right? So therefore, you would put into service as of September, right?
Right.
So how old would your asset be if I'm depreciating at the end of the year, December 31st?
4 months.
4 months. Okay? So in this $333, right? That's for a whole year.
Right.
Can I call my asset a whole year when it's only 4 months old?
No.
So how do I adjust it?
Okay. Let's see. I get $83.39.
That's only for 3 months. My asset is 4 months old, right?
Right.
So how much would it be for 4 months?
$111.
$111, right? Because that's exactly what we have in this chart. For
Okay.
4 whole months, it's going to cost me a grand total of $111.20. There you go. So that's how I would depreciate it if I was converting it from months to years. It'd be, right, the first year would be 4 months. So therefore, $111.20. Okay? All right. Last problem of the day here is I have a patent, or in this case, a copyright. So in this case, on January 12th, you purchase a copyright for $2,500. Its estimated useful life is 15 years. So what did I buy?
Copyright.
You bought a copyright. Okay? How much did that copyright cost you?
$2,500.
What's the estimated useful life?
15.
15 years. And when did I place into service?
January 12th.
So what does that tell me? When do I start amortizing it?
In January.
You start doing it in January. So in this case, I'm doing it at the end of every year. So what is my amortization basis?
2,500.
It's just the asset cost. Good. Okay. What's my rate going to be?
I got point zero zero. I mean point 0.066666.
Good, right? Because it needs to, for you, if you're going to calculate this on a calculator, you need to have 6 decimal places, at least. Okay? So 4, 5, 6. Okay? So what is going to be my amortization expense for the first year?
$166,666,666.
$166.6666. What does that tell you?
Round.
Round up.
Yes.
Good. So it's 67 cents. So therefore, my accumulated depreciation is that $166.67. So therefore, what is going to be my book value?
$2,333.33.
Good. Okay, so what is my amortization basis for year 2?
Is it the same?
It's the same for all 5 years. Yes. Okay. What about my rate?
The rate is going to be the same.
It's going to be the same for all 5 years. So therefore, what's my depreciation expense going to be?
166.7.
Yep, $166.67. So therefore, what is my accumulated depreciation?
$335.34.
33334. Good. So therefore, um my book value is
$2,166.36.
66 cents. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So what's my depreciation expense going to be for year 3?
166.67.
Yep, it'd be the same for all 5 years. So in this case, what's my accumulated going to be?
$501.
501 cents. So therefore, what's my book value going to be?
$1,999.99.
So then what's my accumulated going to be for the 4th year?
$666.68.
Good. So therefore, my book value will be
$1,333.31.
$1,833.32
32. Okay.
How do you get 32? Hold on. 9.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong number. Okay, yes. So then, and then last but not least, for the 5th year, your accumulated should be $833.35. So therefore, your book value should be 166.6665. Okay.
Mhm.
So go ahead and record this adjustment for the 1st and 2nd year. Okay.
Okay. Amortization expense.
Amortization expense. Good.
And would it be amortization?
Yes, accumulated amortization. Good.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first year, how much did I amortize this copyright for?
166.67.
166.67. So therefore, what should my journal be for the second year? How much did I depreciate for the second year?
166.67.
Yep. So in this case, it's going to be an identical journal here, and the number is going to be the same as this one, right, for the second year. All right. Any
Right.
questions in regards to depreciation?
No.